Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars figure review. Today we're going to take a look at another figure from Wave 3 of the Rogue One 3 3/4 inch line, and in today's review we are going to take a look at this guy. This is of course Bodhi Rook, who is the Imperial pilot who defects to the Rebellion in the movie and joins the Rogue One team. This is a really cool figure, and in my opinion Bodhi was sort of an overlooked character in the film. A lot of the hype was centred around sort of Jyn Erso and K2SO and all the other characters, and Bodhi sort of fell into the background a little bit. And that's a very peculiar reflection on this figure as well, because this particular wave features some absolutely stunning characters such as Grand Admiral Thrawn from Rebels and the Imperial Death Trooper, and I think a lot of people are sort of underappreciating this figure. And let me tell you, it's a really cool one. So we're going to talk about this one in more detail in just a little bit. But before we do that, as always, let's take a quick look at the packaging. Once again, we do get the standard Rogue One packaging design with this figure. So you've got the Death Trooper brand image at the top and the Rogue One logo just off to the side. Down below that, you've got some artwork of Bodhi Rook in action. And on the front of the bubble, you do indeed have a rundown of the play feature, which I must admit is absolute genius, and I'll talk about why that is in just a little bit. But this is without a doubt one of the best accessories or play feature gimmicks that Hasbro have included with one of their 3 3/4 inch figures for quite some time. So we'll discuss that in just a moment. On the back of the box, you've got a rundown of the Studio FX app, and of course, tongue-tied, a brief description of the character. So there is the packaging for Bodhi Rook. The artwork on the card doesn't particularly capture the likeness of Riz Ahmed, who is of course the actor who plays him, all that well, but for loose collectors that's obviously not a major issue. So with packaging aside, let's take a look at the figure itself, and as I mentioned, this one is really cool. Despite only featuring 5 points of articulation, which is of course the standard now with 3 3/4 inch figures, this one is really nice. The sculpt, the detail, and again the accessories that he comes with are really well done, and Hasbro have done a fantastic job with this figure. What I really like about this one is the fact that the play feature that's been included with Bodhi Rook is actually screen accurate to one of the accessories that he uses in the movie. A lot of these accessories tend to be sort of Hasbro inventions that are really big and practical and fire missiles and do all that sort of cheesy 1990s play feature stuff. But this one, it takes a prop used in the film and it does incorporate a play feature which isn't 100% screen accurate, but the accessory itself is taken directly from the movie. Now, if I'm remembering this correctly, this particular backpack is a device that Bodhi uses to transmit a signal to the Rebellion during the Battle of Scarif. Obviously Bodhi and the Rogue One team are down on the ground, and at this point in the movie they're trying to get the Death Star plans transmitted up to the Rebellion above the planet. Now again, apologies if I get this wrong, because I've struggled to put this back together piece by piece in my mind, but if I remember correctly, Bodhi uses this device to plug into a communications tower to send a message to the Rebellion that says you need to deactivate the shield gate above the planet before we can transmit the signal with the Death Star plans. Again, I apologise if that's wrong, and I'm sure that some of you will correct me in the comments below if I am, but that's how I remember it, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So again, that's really cool that Hasbro decided to incorporate that accessory into this play feature. For the purposes of action, and again, being a play feature, Hasbro have included a zipline with this one. So rather than being sort of a transmitter or a plug, this is just a grappling hook. And what you do with this one is obviously to sort of extend the cable. You just pull that out like so, and that will extend the rope. And then to retract it back inside the backpack itself, you'll see this knob on the back that you just twist, and the rope will retract back up inside the backpack, which is genius. Again, it takes the prop that's used in the film and it just adds a little play feature to it, just so that it is useful to kids who are going to play with these figures. Obviously not too many children are going to be taking this and recreating that scene from the film where Bodhi has to plug this into the communications tower. They're going to want to swing this figure from high surfaces and all that sort of stuff. So for that reason it works. And the backpack itself is nicely sculpted, and again, I'm really impressed with this accessory, and I'm really happy that Hasbro decided to go this route with the play feature. With regards to the other accessories included with the figure, we do get a Rebel blaster, which is very similar to the ones used by the Rebel fleet troopers in the original trilogy. Obviously you've got the added floodlight or laser sight on the barrel, and he does come with his pilot goggles, which, as you can see, are unfortunately sculpted to the head. The backpack can be removed via a couple of straps on either side. You can then proceed to just remove that, and that gives you a much better look at the vest underneath. As you can see, you've got pockets, zips, all that sort of cool stuff going on. Some straps around the back, and I believe that the vest itself is removable as well. You'll see this crack or seal just under the arm there, and I believe that you can open that up and remove the vest itself. I'm not going to do that for the purposes of time in this review, but I have seen images online of it where it's been removed. The head sculpt itself is decent. Like with the card artwork, it's not an accurate likeness, I'll say. Obviously you can tell who the character is supposed to be, but the likeness is ever so slightly off. The face is just a little bit too pointy for me personally. He sort of looks like Vlad the Impaler as opposed to Bodhi Rook, but that is what it is. As you can see, the hair has been sculpted nicely. Again, you've got that goggle strap around the back, and of course the Imperial emblem on each shoulder, as well as some utensils and tools and all that sort of thing in those pockets on the bicep. In terms of articulation, Bodhi features your standard 5 points, so we do have a ball joint at the head, swivels at the shoulders and swivels at the hips. Thankfully this figure can sit down, so if you do want to use him to pilot any of your vehicles, then he can of course do that. Hopefully somewhere down the line Hasbro decide to bring us a 3 3/4 inch scale Imperial cargo ship for Bodhi to pilot, or perhaps an improved version of the U-Wing or something. But yeah, very cool figure indeed. As I mentioned, I think in favour of Grand Admiral Thrawn and the Death Troopers and all that sort of stuff, he has been overlooked, but let me tell you, he is an awesome figure, highly recommended, and if you're looking to complete your Rogue One team, he's obviously a necessity, and he does look awesome alongside Baze Malbus, Chirrut Imwe, Jyn Erso and all the other gang, so a really cool figure. So if you've enjoyed having a look at this one, as always there's a link in the video description where you can purchase this figure for yourself, and here in the UK this particular wave of figures is just starting to hit high street retail, so places like Asda, Tesco and other stores are slowly but surely getting this wave in, so if you see this figure be sure to grab him. So that's going to do it for this review on Bodhi Rook from wave 3 of the Rogue One 3 3/4 inch line, and I'll be back to give you a look at one more figure from this wave in my next video. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and until next time, as always, thank you for watching, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.